Okay, so you might ask the question, why do we want to use a repeated measures design? So one of the reasons why we want to use a repeated measures design is one for sensitivity. And what do we mean by that? So when we talk about unsystematic variance is reduced, what the heck are we talking about here? So remember that variance is how the scores are spread. So if I'm using a repeated measures design and I'm using the same people, then what I'm going to ultimately do is reduce how much the scores vary between the times that I test a person, right? Because generally people are going to pretty much stay the same. So your variance, the way the scores are spread, is reduced when you use the same people versus I go out and I randomly put 10 people in one group and I randomly put another 10 people in a different group. Those people could be very, very different. All right, so unsystematic variance is reduced, which means I have a better outcome. It is also more sensitive to experimental effects. So again, I'm using the same people, and so if the experiment is going to have an effect on these people, whatever it is I'm measuring, it's going to be sensitive to actually show that that happens. Another reason for one of the benefit for using the repeated measures design is economy. One of those being that I need less participants, right? Because I'm using the same people and I'm measuring them multiple times. I maybe don't need 150 people. Maybe I only need 60, all right? Because I've got multiple time points at which I'm measuring and ultimately looking at whether or not somebody's going to succeed. The one thing you do want to watch out is for, be careful of, is fatigue. In other words, all right, if you are giving somebody a questionnaire and you're giving them the questionnaire every single week, they're going to get tired of answering that questionnaire. So you got to think about, okay, am I going to measure them at week 1 and week 5 and week 10? Less fatigue, right? So be thinking about, if you do a repeated measures design, how often do you want to measure them? So those are some of the benefits of using a repeated measures design. Depends on your research question and depends how often you want to measure somebody.